Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, kids.
All righty. Let's get started here. The minutes from our March 12th meeting. Any kind of changes or corrections needed? If none, will someone make a motion to accept? Right? I saw that little move. I guess that's close enough. Second, Bill. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Budget report. Attached. We have, on the revenue side, the payments that was received from Verio Health that I emailed everybody about. Some interest earnings, up top. On the expense side, we have salaries, disability insurance payment, under professional contracts, partial payment to Weston Company for their work on the audit. Monthly bill for the work on the IDA's website. Under development strategy, that was the payment that was authorized to the county for work on the development strategy. And the 5,500 for the appraisal that was done for the lands in the Crossroads Business Park. And then at the bottom, the payments that were authorized for the work on the Triumph pump station, those were authorized at the last meeting. So those would be the expenses for the past month.
Do we get clarification on those interests?
So that is correct. That's correct. Okay, that is correct. There was no interest because there was no maturity. Correct. Okay. Any questions? Anyone make a motion to accept the budget report? Dave?
I'll second.
Mike? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Committee reports, audit committee, monthly bank reconciliations, Greg?
I reviewed the report sent by Carol and everything was in order.
Very good. Other reports, Dennis from the CRG.
Good morning, everybody. So I'm surprised to be here. Maybe only once or twice a year, but I enjoy time. Excuse me. April report from the CRG. On behalf of the county, the CRG submitted a grant application to pay for the removal of any drums left over at the fashion tanning site. The final redevelopment plan for fashion tanning has been submitted to CRG for review, and the plan needs a few more tweaks. Micro enterprise grant application for $300,000 continues to move through the submission process. The state had several questions and accepted CRG's responses to their questions. The EPA announcement regarding our pending $500,000 brownfield assessment grant application will be made next month. CRG is starting to put together a tentative list of sites for consideration. The CRG team applied for a $250,000 grant from National Grid to use in downtown Gloversville. CRG, county planning, and EPA consultants met regarding the county applying for the $10 million EPA environmental and climate justice community change grant. A decision was made not to apply, but instead all agencies would support the city of Gloversville should they apply for that. The New York State Economic Development Council has the following scheduled events. Spring IDA Academy, April 17 and 18. The New York State Economic Development Corporation annual meeting, May 22 and 24 through 24. And the New York Basic Economic Development course, which is June 10 through 13. The FAST New York Track B grant for $65,300 that CRG was awarded for the Johnstown Commerce Park completes all the financing necessary for engineering the first two FAST New York shovel-ready standards. CRG met with New York State Job Development Authority and requested money from the state to add to the countywide loan funds. The CRG was offered state resources, but chose to wait for a different potential state resource. The Gloversville Downtown Development Specialist continues to meet with the DRI project awardees and is currently working on the capital stacking process for each project The Gloversville DDS continues to work with downtown related activities, including the local waterfront revitalization program in the city's brownfield opportunity area. The Mohawk Valley Brownfields Development Summit planning is moving forward, and registration, which is really good news, for 2024. The registration numbers are already outpacing registration from last year. We were able to secure Hope Knight, Commissioner of New York State ESD, as a keynote speaker, and the agenda is shaping up nicely. We will be preparing property sheets for several Fulton County properties outside of the city of Gloversville. The city will complete their own property sheets. And last, the CRG will continue its efforts to add more companies to the New York State Nano Tech Sites map. End of report.
Any questions for Dennis?
Yeah, this is, how many sites are in the brownfield, like, is there a list of like the top 5 or what sites?
I can't tell you how many sites are there. I would refer you to.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
The micro enterprise grants said about the state had several questions. Do you know what they might have been? Because I'm a member of that, and I just didn't know. I mean, we've done it so many times, and they love the work that we do. I'm surprised they had questions from us.
I'm sorry.
I can get hold of Ken then. Ken would know it better. Okay, very good.
Any other questions I can refer around? Read a report, ask, they got questions, just.
Excellent then, Dennis.
Fashion Tank says that the plan's been submitted to CRG, so is CRG doing the redevelopment, or is there in?
Well, I think they're gonna head it up, but they're not gonna physically do the redevelopment themselves.
Okay,
That I think I can answer.
who did the redevelopment plan then?
I'm sorry.
Did CRG do the redevelopment plan or another agency? Consult, oh,
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you. I'm gonna stick around for the rest of the
Please do.
meeting until you get to the executive session.
All righty.
Meetings.
Thank you, Dennis.
Mr. Roll, anything from the county standpoint?
I don't want any questions, so I have to.
No, John.
Yeah. Dr. Johnson.
All right, let's move on to old business, Nexus Renewables. There's really no update there. I was supposed to have a call with them yesterday, but that got canceled last second. Win Stanley also, we have no updated report to provide there. Item number 3 are T-bills. T-bills 1 and 2 will be coming due shortly and need to be renewed. The current T-bill rates are shown on your agenda. It would appear that the best rate presently is for a 6-month T-bill. Comparatively, CD rates that we could get are about 4.64% for 5 months. So the T-bill rate is still a little bit better for us right now. So one action we need to take is going to be to authorize the renewal of T-bills 1 and 2 at whatever term you wish to do. But the other thing is that there's an option that we have now available, and it's the information about it is attached to your agenda. Intrafi Network Deposit is it's called here. Okay, towards the end of your agenda. And this particular account operates is very similar to our current money market to the extent that we can deposit and take money out as needed. All right, but the big difference is this particular account is currently offering an interest rate of 4.85%, whereas our current money market is at 3%. So it simply represents an alternative for us to keep most of our operating funds in and just earn a little bit more of an interest rate than we currently are getting in our money market account. So what I'm going to suggest is that we have a current balance in our money market, and I'm going to suggest that we transfer that to this account for the sole purpose of just generating a little bit more of interest than we're currently getting in our money market account. So I'm gonna ask for a motion to do two things. One, to renew T-bills 1 and 2 at the 6-month rate, given this is our best rate, and to authorize transferring monies from our current money market account into a new intra-fi network deposit account, both with NBT Bank.
Are you targeting a particular amount of
Entire
transfer?
balance,
The entire balance.
yes. We just, I don't want to have two separate kind of money market accounts.
Uh-huh.
Just keep it in one, it's just it'd be the same bank,
Yeah, makes sense.
okay?
And the other benefit of the inter-fi account is, so you have $250,000 FDIC insurance. So what the bank does is takes that and spreads it with agreements with other banks and takes it from other banks. But it's an MBT account, you can go there and draw, but it gives you FDIC protection on all of your money.
The same as the Cedars program that used to be, right?
You could, yeah.
The same concept.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, those work fine. I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Dan.
I've had discussion.
Can we get a second, can we get a second? And then we'll have a
I'll second.
discussion.
I'll second.
Dave? Discussion,
This,
questions?
this is based on doing the 6 months, right?
The T-bills will be for 6 months, correct?
Can I make a suggestion to do the 12-month one? It's 0.13 less. But with the fact that most likely rates are gonna start coming down, I believe.
You gonna put money on that?
For the 0.13, you're tying up for
Mhm.
6 months. I was just. I mean, it's such a short term.
Mhm.
I think that if you lock it in for a year for a little difference, it's just shy of 5.
Mhm.
And we're happy.
Do we know how much we're rolling over in the
250 in each.
250, so 500?
So
I think.
which T-bills are we talking about?
1 and 2.
2.
1 and 2, then we've got 3 coming up due right after that.
Correct.
And then we've got 4 and 5 in August.
Correct.
Um.
We can split them.
Do 1/6, 1/12?
Because if we do the 6 months right now and it's April, it's coming due in 10, so everything's gonna be all towards the end. The 8, and then you're gonna have 2 more, 2 and 12 or whatever.
Yeah, because we originally set them up
Quarterly.
3, 6, 9, 12.
Right.
Right.
Right, but each time you've been renewing one, you've renewed at whatever rate was the best, whatever term, so.
Right.
Dan, you made the motion, do you wish to change that, or you want to keep it?
I keep the motion.
Okay. Any other, I mean, so we've had a suggestion to changing it to 1 6-month, 1 12-month, is anybody,
But Joe's was to put on the
Put it
12.
all in 12 months.
put it all in the 12-month,
Yes.
okay. My bad.
And I like the compromise of 12 and 6.
Yes, and I don't mind that either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind this 6 and 12. I just think the rate is so close.
Is there consensus on that? 1 6, 1 12?
I would say
I like 6 and 12.
It's
6 and 12 is
I'm
not,
good with that.
spreads it out,
Okay.
starts getting you the every 3 months again. Good compromise.
Okay, so the motion is to renew T-bill 1 for 6 months, T-bill 2 for 12 months, and to authorize transferring the entire balance of our current money market into this new account. Everybody agree that that's the motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion's carried.
We bankers like higher interest rate, Joe.
What's that?
We bankers like the higher interest rate.
And when Joe and I were at the CRG meeting last month, there was talk of the CRG maybe wanting to get into T-bills, and we referred them to you, being that we were already doing
Okay.
the research into it and any help we could give.
If they call, we will help.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what we suggested.
Crossroads Park Housing, we, as you know, you guys have agreed to put up for sale about a 25-acre parcel in there to hopefully encourage the development of some new housing there. Howard Hanna is finalizing marketing materials and the sign. And I met with the mayor and DPW director recently to go through a series of tasks that they're going to do to make the physical appearance of the road look as good as possible. Take the street sweeper down, cut some brush, clean out catch basins, and hopefully repaint the sign, the entrance sign coming in, and a few other things. So hopefully that work's going to be completed this week, according to the mayor. All right. Moving on to the development strategy, the board, as you know, hired the MRB group to do that work. I participated in a kickoff meeting with the MRB group and county officials recently to get that project started. We've processed, as you saw in the budget report, your payment to the county to help pay for that strategy. And the MRB B group's first task is to start collecting various types of data that will be used in identifying trends, strengths, weaknesses, and threats in the three main categories of what the development strategy is going to include, which is economic development, housing, and tourism. So I will keep you updated as that work proceeds along. Under new business, my annual fund with Paris was completed. I filed the necessary reports, which included the annual report, our audit, our procurement report, and investment report were all filed back on March 18th. We are required to file those by the end of March every year. It's kind of amazing. I send these in electronically on March 18th. The next morning, I get this long email from one of the auditors in the controller's office with a series of questions. And it's just amazing. They must sit there and wait for each one to come in. Anyways.
We don't got that kind of staffing anymore to be that.
Yeah,
It's just amazing and very detailed. I mean, and I really appreciate it, you know, and it was
Specific to our submission, or is it like a pro forma?
Oh, no, very specific.
Really?
Very specific questions. Responded to them all, accepted everything. Thank you, appreciate it, real quick. But the quickness of the response was just.
It wasn't even a business day.
It wasn't even a business day, correct? So.
Yours was early, everybody else's was March 30th.
The case. So, anyways, that task is complete. Next, our annual review of these, what are called the ST 340 forms. Any company that receives sales tax benefits from the IDA is required to file this form, this ST 340 form, with the state each year by the end of February. You guys authorize them to take a certain amount of exemptions based upon in their application saying, here's what our estimated project costs are going to be. Here's what our estimated sales tax payments would be. And then this board authorizes that company to take up to a certain amount of exemptions. What the controller's office of the state wants this board to do is to keep track of that. And how you keep track of it is we look at these forms every year, because what the companies have to do is to file this form with the state, which says this is the exact amount of sales tax exemptions we took in the previous year. All right. So when we flip the page 5, we start with the Vireo Health Project. And Vireo, when they originally came to us, they were there was going to be a $55 million project. Well, like every other project that was started in the early 2020s, inflation and project costs increased. So the total project cost went from $55 million to over $77 million. Originally, you authorized sales tax exemptions up to $2,251,520. Well, because of the project cost increase, they came back to you and said, we would like to have you increase the total amount of sales tax exemptions we can take from 2,251 to $3,284,535. However, you did so contingent upon two things happening. The company signing the agent and equipment lease, and the company paying the balance of the administrative fee that was owed the IDA. As you know, that took a while. It's now been done. Those two items have been completed. And so the $3,284,535 total is now what is applied and available to Vireo. So when you look in the next sections, that's what they claimed in 2021, another million in 2022, and last year, and again attached to your agenda, is the copy of that actual form that they submitted it to us. And last year, they took $684,574. So when you add those 3 years together, it shows that they're under the total by over $500,000. Bottom line is, we monitored, they're still okay. They have not exceeded the total that was authorized for them to take. And when you look down to the second one under Benjamin Moore, the same thing happened there. When you look at the total sales tax, originally it was approved was $720,000. Because of inflation, they came back to us twice, and 2 times this board increased the total, so it's now $1,072,000. And again, when you look at the sales tax exemptions that they took in 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023, when you add those 4 years together, there's still $67,811 under the total that was authorized. Okay?
And now they can't take any more because
Correct.
there's the
Both
expiration.
projects, the expiration dates have expired, and they have not come back and asked for an extension. Okay?
So Vireo could file a report for 2024, take sales tax between
They are-
January 1
correct.
and March 31st.
Correct. And as long as they're under the 502,000 that's left, they're gonna be okay. So we're done reviewing Benjamin Moore's, because they're not authorized to take anything this year. But next year, we'll have to do the same thing with Vireo for the 3 months of this year. Okay? Any questions on that? I know I apologize that it's tedious, but you know, it is what you folks are supposed to do. So we'll now have a matter of record in the notes that you've reviewed these forms and everything is okay. All right? Moving on to the top of page 6 of your agenda, our annual task of approving lawn mowing work out at Tryon. As we've done each year, a request for quotes was distributed to 3 companies and individuals, asking them to provide quotes for mowing out there. We received 2 quotes back last week. And the quotes are based upon performing the amount of work shown there. 11 finished mowings, 3 brush hoggings in certain areas, and 2 brush hoggings in other areas. And that number of finished mowings has increased. We increased the number from last year, which was 9, and the year before that, that was 7. Because when we were at 7, we were finding that grass was just getting so tall. When they went out there and mowed, it just was too much. We increased it last year to 9. It was still a little too much. So now we're at 11 this year. The 2 quotes that we received were very, very close, but the low quote is with James Esper Landscaping at a total cost of $7,990 for the entire year. Win Stanley Enterprises has again agreed to reimburse us the cost for this mowing in this year. What we will do is we pay the bills all year, and at the end of the year, we send an invoice to Win Stanley and they reimburse us for that total cost. So asking for a motion to authorize the chairman to sign an agreement with James Esper Landscape in the amount of $7,990.
I'll make the motion.
Sue? Any questions? Any discussion?
I just want to add, I think it's great that we're getting continuity now. Before we were every year, it seemed like we just flip flop between 2 or 3 companies. So Now with them being the 3 times, I know who they have mowing it and
Mhm.
it's, they know exactly what to do each time now.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Joe, as you know, because we have to take the low quote, you have that
Right.
ability to go and change every year,
Oh, yeah, I know.
but it just,
I'm glad that we.
James Esper for the last couple of years has, has gotten that, but as you know, next year it could be somebody different, so.
In looking at the records there, we had that one year where Esper charged 10,000.
Mhm.
What was, did we increase the amount of mowing that year or something like that? What accounts for that kind of jump in
I don't
cost?
recall.
I was just curious.
I know we didn't, I think we added some additional brush hogging as opposed
okay.
to just the finish mowing. I think that's what it was,
Okay.
so.
I mean, I think that kind of aligns with, is that when Vireo was starting to kind of eye up some expansion there?
There was discussion about it, but that didn't happen until 2020, I think, is when it formally happened.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. Okay.
Interesting.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All righty, under other business. More?
Oh, it's 200?
Yeah. The Brownfields Developer Summit, gonna be held in a couple weeks. A couple of you are scheduled to attend. The IDA is a sponsor, for that, session. So, hopefully those in attendance, can report back at the next meeting as to what you heard and learned at that session. For this month's board training, tried something a little different. We received this report in, it's a monthly report or an annual report that's published by this group, the New York State Association of Training and Employment Professionals. It just had some interesting data about our labor force. Attached to your agenda, the last 2 pages is additional information from that report. But I just wanted a couple of things. It says New York State's statewide labor force participation rate is 61.7%. To me, that just seems low, right? That only 61% of our potential labor force is
Working?
you're working, yet it's the highest in more than a decade. So I guess that's good news.
How do you qualify potential labor?
I don't know how they define that, Joe. Okay, I'm assuming it's just the,
The age
for those of 18 to 65,
Mhm.
certain age category. The second one, the healthcare and social assistance sector provides the most jobs in 9 of the 10 states' labor market areas. And yet those are 2 of the most lowest paying job sectors in the state. So although it's a lot of employment, it's not necessarily the highest wages being paid to those 2 sectors. 8 of the 10 occupations that employ the most New Yorkers statewide require a high school degree or less, paying median wages far below the self-sufficiency threshold. Okay. Go to the top of the next page. 14, well, where was it? Okay. The one that New Yorkers with a bachelor's degree earn an average of 87% more than those with a high school degree. It doesn't say how much more, but it would be nice to see what that number is, because that, if it's 100% more, just speaking hypothetically, that would certainly encourage, you would think, more people to go get your bachelor's degree. If the difference is only 2%, it may not encourage anyone to go get a bachelor's degree if it's not going to result in your earnings being that much higher. Economists project that by 2031, 70% of the jobs in New York will require education and training beyond high school. So again, for what that's worth, there's again additional information to look at that's attached to your agenda. And that would be, this month's, board, training for you folks, so. That's all I have for open session today. Would someone be willing to make the motion to go into executive for the reasons listed on page 8 of the, or 9 of the agenda?
Make that motion.
Joe?
I'll second.
Thank you, guys.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All- We are now in executive session.
Good day.
Thank you, Dennis.
I'll second it.
Dave. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are out of executive at 8:45 AM.
9.
Like I said, 9:45. Just as if you were listening, so.
I'm like 8. I'm like, damn, this was quick.
Would someone like to make a motion to set the price, asking price for the property that we're trying to sell in the Crossroads Business Park?
I'd like to make a motion to offer that 25 acres at a price of $595,000.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Joe Gillis. Any further discussion?
I think it needs a 2.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Very good. I will communicate that to Colleen and get that listed as soon as we can. So, does anyone have any other business to discuss here today? Hearing none, Sue, could I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion
We
close.
were stuck last week.
Yeah.
We stayed here for 10 minutes extra.
All in favor, say aye to close.
Aye.
Maybe-
I think when I'm absent, it should be Dan.
That's what I determined on the first meeting when you're not, but I was remote, so
Oh,
I didn't think I could do it from there.